all running at a high level.
They're all elite. Getting ready for 25 laps here. There we go, and we're off. The women's 10,000 meter U.S. Champs qualifier race. Here's the drone shot, and you can see on the ticker down below, these are all the athletes in the lineup for tonight's race. And we'll get the clock on the screen shortly for you. In this race, we have Amelia Kaiser-Gibson, Katja Goldring, Geraldine Poe, Caitlin Peel, Lexi Zeiss, Kaylin Bogina, Carolyn Sang, Lauren Hurley, Molly Grable, J.C. Smith, Mackenzie Caldwell, Daniela Torres, Susanna Sullivan, and Jean Mack. So here they come around the home stretch for the first time.
It looks like Susan Sullivan taking control right on this first lap.
And here we go. We'll see what they come up to the first lap in, about 75. So they're looking for 31:45. So 75 is good. They're banking a little bit of time, I suppose. 75 is 31:25 pace.
Yes, but it looks like they want to get after it and settle right into that 75, 76 second pace.
Yeah, so let's talk about what your strategy is going into a 10K here. How do you break down the race? Because this is a big chunk to bite off here.
It absolutely is. 25 laps around the track is tough, and I think a lot of people just take it 1K at a time. And I used to just think just work through each K, work to halfway, and then start cutting it down the second half of the race. But I think since most of these women are here to go after these fast times today, they want to get right out, get after it, and not be having to make up time later in the race.
Okay, so we have Lauren Hurley up front on the outside, too, as they reach 800 meters here in about 2:30.
Right, so still running 75s. And you can tell the pace is fast because we do already have a break of about 7 women.
And we're coming up as they go down this back straight here. So Susanna Sullivan in the lead, Lauren Hurley in second, and then Carolyn Sang in third there. And then in that second pack there, it looks like that might be Lexi Zeiss leading. So 3:08 through the K. That's the first K there. And right now this is Susanna Sullivan, who's the protagonist, pushing the pace. And we've got Lauren Hurley right there in the armchair position. She's sitting nice. And
yeah, I think they're still getting comfortable, just trying to run at this pace as easy as possible because they know they still have over 20 laps to go. And, yeah, just settling in and getting to their groove, keeping it rolling through the second K.
And you can see the pace lights behind them now. So they're well in front. Well, not well in front. They're banking a little bit of time, but that is for 31:45 there, which is the U.S. Champs standard.
And that light will definitely be helpful if they do slow, as often happens later in the race. They'll see that light creeping up, and that'll be a constant reminder to stay on top of it, stay focused, and not let up.
So the front pack of 7 now heading down the back stretch, and then we also that second pack is led by Lexi Zeiss, and then that's marathoner Katja Goldring in there too.
And I think in that second pack, we have a lot of women who are also just shooting for a big PR tonight, and I think you're going to have some of those ladies looking to dip under that 32-minute mark for the first time.
Which is a huge benchmark as well.
Exactly. So there's, lots of different goals, kind of being focused on and chased down in these races.
So times have been ridiculous lately, but maybe talk a little bit about 32 minutes and what that has meant for the women's 10K in the past, and especially in American distance running.
Yeah, in the past, it's definitely been, it's kind of that stepping stone barrier, and that's what I think it still is. Like we've dropped the U.S. qualifying time down to 31:45, but if you're running on sub 32, you're still moving along, and that's still a really fast, respectable time. So I think it's still a great barrier for these women to shoot for, and then beyond that, go down, to the 31:45 and sub 31:30.
So, American distance running really stepping up.
Absolutely.
Meeting the challenge here. And we're hearing 5:03 for 1,600 meters.
So still right on pace.
And Susanna Sullivan pushing it right now. That group of 6 women behind her just comfortable letting her take the lead at this point.
Yeah, I would assume at some point they'll switch off leads, but right now she's taking control and they're letting her do it.
And right now we're coming up to our second chapter, the end of our second chapter, the 2K. 10Ks here on the track. And they cross 2K in around 6:21.
So round. So about 3:12 for the second K.
So settling more into 31:45 pace.
Right.
Right now. So 3:08 for the first K.
We can see they're still in front of the pace lights, which is a good sign.
And you can see Geraldine Poe there, number 4, moving out on the outside, giving herself some space.
Right.
Sometimes it can be a little tough to run in a straight line like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wants to vie for position right now, but at this point in the race, is it that important to be second in this pack of 7 or sixth?
In my opinion, it doesn't matter at this point. The only person I'm sometimes concerned with is a person on the back of the pack. Because some people, right now, that's Molly Grable, and some athletes are really comfortable with that, knowing they can zip up at any moment, and while others, it kind of gives you that feeling of, am I going to get dropped? That was kind of me. I didn't do great at the back of the pack. I needed to kind of stay awake and put myself further up. But, that it's kind of an individual thing. In the 10K, I think it's just get in line where you're comfortable and keep clipping off the even splits.
And here we can see our fan poll on the screen too. So if you purchased a ticket this evening, then you had the opportunity to vote on who you believe will win each of these races. And it looks like Molly Grable is the favorite, and she's sitting in that rear spot right now in this front pack. Then you have Caitlin Peel. Allie Kiefer is not in this race.
Right, as we noticed, she ran a 1:09 half marathon in Rome today, so she's definitely not doubling back today.
No, I think she had trouble with her flight. But now Carolyn Sang up to the front.
Which I think I like to see the women switching off leads, so everyone kind of takes a turn for a few laps. I think that gives the others a bit, gives Susanna a little bit of a break. She can kind of settle in for a few laps and then go back by if that's where she's comfortable.
So laps so far have been 74, 75, 76, 77, 77.
Okay.
And I think what they want is around 76s, so they're evening out at this point.
Right. So they're going to want to stay aware that they're slowing a little bit and try to stay on that 76 and change lap split.
That 7th lap was a 76.9.
Nice.
And here comes J.C. Smith on the outside. She's pulling the triple pass, it looks like. Everybody's going wide.
And my guess is that she's eyeing up those wave lights and trying to keep pace with them. They were just starting to slip behind a little bit, and I think she's trying to keep them back on pace.
So 9:33 through 3K there as we close out 3Ks of the 10K. And J.C. Smith up to the front there. I would say that last K maybe belonged to Carolyn Sang doing the work, taking it over from Susanna Sullivan at the beginning. But now I believe that's Lauren Hurley behind J.C. Smith, making her presence known.
And I think it's great to see the women all working together to stay on with this common goal, to stay on that 31:45 pace.
And at this point in a 10K, in your opinion, when does the racing really start for 10,000 meters?
I feel like, for me, the racing doesn't start really till sometime in the second half typically, but I feel like that's more in a championship situation. And I feel that in these races where everyone has a common goal of running for time, it's more of a collective effort where they're racing, but I think they're going to help each other out and really work together because they all want that 31:45 time and kind of push the racing to the very end of the race where you battle it out for position. But I think it's more of that collective effort of everyone trying to work for 31:45.
So we'll see the real racing begin maybe in the final 2K here when somebody might start feeling it and think, oh, measure their efforts and how much do I have left in the tank and what can I push.
Yeah, I think for a while now it's going to be focusing lap by lap and trying to keep clicking off the 76s.
And that was a 76 low, 76.01 for that 8th lap, 10:11 through 3,200 meters here. So 5:05 pace. And the 9th lap, 76.4. So they're locking in on 76s, and really J.C. Smith is holding on and pushing, trying to hold on to those pacing lights there. J.C. Smith, Lauren Hurley, Susanna Sullivan, and Geraldine Poe up there too. Geraldine Poe now of Flagstaff, I believe, but formerly of a Michigan State athlete.
And she just ran a really good half marathon in Mesa, Arizona, running a 1:10. So that definitely shows she has the strength to run a really strong 10K on the track. We see Carolyn Sang starting to struggle a little bit in the back, so this is really where, you don't want to think too far ahead in a 10K. It's like take one lap at a time and just try to close it back up.
And they passed 4K there, 12:44.7. That was a 76.46 for that lap.
So JC's in a really good groove just clicking off these 76-second laps.
So 12:44, right about where they need to be. 12:42 is 31:45 pace, and the lights tell you all you need to know. It looks like Carolyn Sang maybe losing touch with that front pack, so whittling it down. They're 6 now. Molly Grable still holding on there in that.
And hey, the back of the pack may be where she's comfortable. Some athletes are very comfortable in that position.
Yeah, that's the kicker's spot there. Yeah. You like to see the field. So.
Exactly. Wait to make your move.
And Grable, a 2:29 marathoner, so she's ducked under that 2:30 mark. That's so coveted by.
Yes, it's definitely a barrier.
And she did that at CIM this last year. She placed second, 2021. So the People's Marathon up there in Sacramento. Maybe the most depth of any marathon outside of Japan.
Yes, and it seems to be an opportunity to always run fast at CIM. We also have Daniela Torres, another marathoner who's run a 2:28 marathon. She's tucked in the pack as well, I believe, in 5th place. So we've got some marathon strength grinding these 76-second laps out.
And she may be the only Olympian in this first field as well.
Right.
Ran the Olympic marathon in Tokyo, placing 65th for Mexico. But J.C. Smith here, she's comfortable up front, taking the reins and pulling everybody through so far.
Yeah, you can see that she's on a mission to get this time.
So on to the home straightaway here.
It looks like Lauren Hurley's moving up and going to take her turn at the front.
Just as we say J.C. Smith is there. Oh, Lauren Hurley now putting a gap on the field.
And I think she also, it looked visually like she's aware of the lights and was kind of really made a quick move to get back on that 76-point pace.
So 76:15 for that last lap through 4,800 meters. And up here, as they finish this straightaway, they're coming up to 5,000 meters halfway. And that'll be the fifth chapter in our book here. About 15:55.
So I think she's aware that she's going to need to pick it up a little to hit that standard.
And 10,000 meters, too. Some athletes prefer to take it out maybe a little slower and then close hard for the second half. What was your strategy when you did it?
When I was running for time, it would be to stay as close as even to possible. But I was always comfortable picking it up because I was more that coming from a 5K background, more so than even though I ran the marathon. So I felt like I always had a little something left. But in terms of time, I do feel like, being really steady or that little bit off and cutting it down is like the smoothest way to do it.
And Lauren Hurley now ahead of the lights and Geraldine Poe right at the front of the lights. So hanging on there with pace, and the three runners behind them are not falling off the pace just yet. They're still in a good spot.
And hopefully they'll be able to regroup because, sometimes in these long races, someone makes a surge and it's a little hard to respond right away, but you can kind of regroup and work back up to them. So I'm hoping these women can kind of regroup so they all have a shot at that 31:45 standard. We see Molly Graybill is still hanging in there at the back of the pack, so she's obviously very comfortable there.
She swung to the outside a little bit, and it looked like she was thinking about making a move, but maybe not quite yet. Yeah, Lauren Hurley definitely making moves here in this first, or now we're in the second half of this 10K.
Of the 10K.
So that was a 75-second lap there.
Yeah, I think she wants to stay on it and really try to crunch it down so she can get that standard out of the way.
275s in a row for Lauren Hurley up there.
And this is really impressive, from someone who I don't think has really been competing in track very long. She was a pro triathlete. I believe she had a child, and now she decided to come back and try out this pro running thing. So this is a really impressive performance from Lauren.
Yeah, 18th in the Olympic trials in the 10,000 meters, 32:52. And she qualified for the 10,000 meters at Portland Track Festival last year. So I think actually Molly Seidel was, or she was keying off of her a little bit,
nice.
trying to make it.
That's great. Yeah, it's a great story.
Good person to follow. So coming up to 6,000 meters here, 6K. Still Lauren Hurley at the front. 19:04 for 6K. Another 75.7. And Lauren Hurley is putting some distance on Poe there, too. So Poe right where she needs to be.
I think these lights are probably very helpful for Poe because she knows she just has to stay right there, keep maintaining by the lights.
And the pack is splintering a little bit behind them. So Molly Graybill now making a move up to third position. And she's got marathon strength too.
Right. So I think she's running this race how she's comfortable, just running steady and slowly moving up as she goes.
A Southern Californian initially too.
Yeah.
Grew up down here, Molly Grable, and then went up to Oregon to become a Duck. So maybe she's doing this for the home crowd here.
Exactly.
But Lauren Hurley trains in Boulder, so she's coming down from the mountains here. Sea level must feel pretty good.
I bet it does. Yeah, and she's looking really strong right now. Sounds like she may have slowed a hair the last lap, but she still looks really strong, like she's powering along well.
Yeah, 76.8 for that last lap. The 16th lap here out of 25. We're on lap 17. Down the back straight. So you could see Hurley, Poe, Grable, Sullivan, J.C. Smith, and they're all strung out now. Coming up after this race, we'll have you can see the next lineup down there on the scroll bar as well. That's the U.S. champs men's 10,000 meters. They'll be going for 27:50.
Right.
An incredible time. And it wasn't too long ago that you didn't have but a handful of Americans running under 28 minutes. So
right.
For that to be the U.S. qualifier at this point is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really a testament to U.S. distance running, how much these standards have dropped and how the depth of the numbers of people we have running for the women under 32 and the men under 28.
And the depth is really what pushes it forward, too, I think, because you don't get those low sticks without that critical mass pushing
right
at the front. So it's a rising tide in American distance running, and it's led by the deep competition amongst the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we see, I think Molly Graybell's moved up into second position.
Okay, and that was 7K, 22:15 there. So Lauren Hurley still at the front. You can see the standards flash on the screen too.
And Lauren's still in front of those pace lights by a little bit. I believe Molly's a little behind them, so I'm thinking she's looking forward and really trying to get back on that pace to hit the standard.
So Lauren's about a second up on the pacing lights right now. Is 22:14 is right on 31:45 pace for 7K, and she was 22. She was 22:15, but maybe the lights aren't.
Yeah.
No, the lights are perfectly correct. And Hurley is working out here, wearing the shades too. We got the bright lights. This is track at its finest under the lights. A lot of the time you see track midday
right.
Under the sun, and I think that doesn't really work for 5 and 10,000 meter runners.
I agree. Under the lights is definitely the time to do it. Yeah, and she's really pushing hard now. I always felt like this is really the tough point of the 10K, especially when you're out there by yourself trying to stay on those splits. You know, she's really got to dig down here.
So she clawed back. She had a couple of 76s, and now the last lap was a 75.7. She's getting back into it. And that's 7,600 meters, lap 19 in the books for Lauren Hurley. So that was a 76.9. Right now we're in the 20th lap, so as she finishes this, she'll put 8K to a close, and then 2K to go to make it 10K total.
Right.
Chasing that 31:45, and now Grable into second here.
And Grable really looks strong behind her as well.
And this could be a race to finish up here as Grable's got Lauren Hurley set in her sights. And they're swinging around the bottom curve here, coming up to the home straight. Hurley at the front. She's been at the front for a while now, doing a lot of work solo.
She has done a lot of work, but I mean, it's a testament to her of how aggressive she wanted to be tonight and really go after that time.
And this is 8K coming up here. So look at the time on the clock. 27:28 for 8K. Or 25:28, excuse me. A 76.6.
And I feel like she did clip her heel a little bit a second ago, so I feel like she is laboring, but she's running really tough trying to stay right on that pace.
Yeah, we know she's just an endurance beast too with her triathlon background.
See that strength showing through here.
So 20 laps for 8K. She's in the 21st lap of the 10K, and we've got 25 total. And she's right on the pacing lights. They're the only thing keeping her company at this point in time. But Grable is behind her, staring down her shoulder blades. We'll see if she can claw up and maybe help her along the way.
I think this is one of those situations, if Grable was able to catch up, it would really help both of them, because then they'd have a race going on between the two of them to get them through those last 3 or 4 laps.
And Molly looks great. Molly Grable looks fantastic coming through here. We just saw her run by our booth.
So it looks like she's going to need right around a 5-minute mile to get that time, judging from where she went through the finish line.
76.7 through 21 laps there for the 21st lap. And it looks like Hurley's trying to stay as close to the rail as possible, minimize the amount that you have to run.
You have to do everything possible at this point.
And there's Grable a few seconds back. So Grable has been clicking off 77s, and Hurley is still 76s, so not closing it down at this point. But at some point, you think Grable's going to start to move a little bit.
Well, it sounds like she may have slipped a little bit, but I think she needs to focus on making sure she gets under that 32 barrier, because that would still be a really nice PR for her, and something to keep her focused in these last really tough laps.
Grable's PR 32.11, and that was set at the Sound Running track meet in 2021. So that race in May last year.
And kind of like we said earlier, breaking those barriers kind of propels you forward. Like all of a sudden, if you're a 31-something runner, that pushes you on and gives you the confidence to go after the next goal.
8,800 meters. Lap 22 was a 76.3. So Hurley still inching it down.
She's staying really strong, and she's been tough for so long now. Yeah, doing a great job.
And now she at least has this pack in front of her that she can chase too.
I think that's definitely going to be helpful for her to look forward and try to reel some of those ladies in.
And this is 9K coming up here. About 28:40.
So she needs a 3:05 last K to hit that time. So she's going to need to average 74s for this last K.
Okay, well, we'll see what she has left here.
And because she doesn't really have a track pedigree, we don't really know, what her kick is going to be like. So it's going to be really interesting to see these last couple laps.
She's defied the odds so far, and she keeps inching it down slightly. So we'll see what this lap is. The previous one was 76.3. And this is 9,200 meters here, and that was 76.8.
Okay. Yeah, so she's just got to push as hard as she can now to that finish.
So 800 meters to go. Or less than that now. We're getting into 700 meters to go.
And hopefully she can look up and really focus on reeling this pack in, and that may help her start closing it down as she heads towards the lap to go.
And Grable was 77.5 on that last lap.
So she lost a little, but let's see if she can look forward and try to bring it down.
And you could see Hurley still holding on to those lights right there to her left. So we're coming up here. She's swinging onto the home stretch, and she'll have a lap to go when she crosses. This is all Lauren Hurley, and it has been for the entire second half of this race.
Yes, she's really made this race and ran aggressive and done a lot of work.
So she might have to weave around some traffic at this point, but there's the bell. And let's see, there's a lap to go here for Lauren Hurley in this first heat of the 10,000 meters. That was a 76.5. So she's really gritting it out here. Going to have to put the pedal to the metal, I think.
Yeah, she's working hard, but whether she gets that time or not, this has been a tremendous race, and it's going to be a big personal best for her. Well-deserved.
She's swinging around here, making her way through the traffic, but she's at the front of the lights.
It looks like she's almost going by the lights.
150 meters to go for Lauren Hurley in the women's 10,000 meters U.S. Champs qualifier race. Lauren Hurley from Boulder, Colorado, giving it everything she has as she swings onto the home stretch. Driving to the finish, closing out 25 laps here. 31:45 on the clock, so we'll see what it says when she crosses the line. 31:50 roughly.
Right. Then that was a great performance, pushing that whole second half on her own.
So 31:49, what we have here for Lauren Hurley, 74.85 for her last lap. So that was her fastest lap of the race.
That's great. We see Molly Grable did dip under that 32-minute barrier.
A big PR for Molly Grable. Previous PR, 32.11 there. Geraldine Poe, 32.02. So Geraldine Poe, previous PR, 32.38.
Well, that's a great drop, and it did look like she was ready for it with those strong performances she had coming into this.
Susanna Sullivan, 32.03. Her previous best, 32.42.
Oh, great.
And J.C. Smith there, 32.21. About 11 seconds off her best. There's Katya Goldring crossing the line. 32.56.
That was a nice, good, strong run for Katya as well.
So that's a 6-second PR for Katya. Some great results here. That 31:45 is an extremely tough standard to attain.
It really is, and especially she was really attacking it on her own that whole second half. So, yeah, that was an impressive, tough run for Lauren Hurley.
And how many races do you see on this continent, in this hemisphere, where the second heat of this meet is won in 31:49?
Exactly, and it's a testament to the strength of, distance running, and just to the potential that people have to run on this track.
It's not too long ago that time would win